I'm showing you two pictures here because who I really am is I'm probably more like I am with my family, and that's at a concert, having fun. Yeah, that's what I like, okay? This is because Career Services hired me. They want me to have a certain image up here to our employers. They took this picture for me, thank goodness. Our professional photographer did that. And so this is kind of who I am on my professional portfolio. This would be saved for Facebook. Okay? So this is a professional portfolio. Keep that in mind. What are you trying to portray and what is your story? Some images or some things might start popping up. If they do it during this presentation, start writing them down. Doodle in the margins, okay? Something else about profile I want to mention. You saw the two pictures. One's at the concert and one's at here at work. My favorite colors, I like bright colors. Redecorated kitchen and chose fuchsia and mint green. I know it's crazy. I like it. Not good for resale. That's what I like. For my portfolio, you saw more muted colors. The image that it would have given if I had used daisies and pink and green might not have been the right thing. So you kind of have to release some of that. You want to be you, but do consider your audience. I want to make that point. What are your experiences? Do you have any internships, any part-time jobs, any activities, community service, volunteer work? Think about your resume, but explode it. Write down everything you can think of. Because again, in a portfolio, you have a lot more flexibility. You can put a lot more into it. So really think about what are my experiences that I've had. You've been a student, so academics and being a student is your job. That's what the employer expects right now. So that's your primary thing. That's been your job. What have you been focusing on? What have you accomplished here? Now think about what are some of those things that prove your academics. Okay? What are some of those results? Like, did you ever do a presentation in class? Was it ever videoed? Can you get your hands on it? Do you have samples of papers that can show your writing? Do you have any drawings? If you're in technical fields, engineering, if you say that you can do AutoCAD, show me you can do it. Anything that can prove what you say you do, you need to put it on a list and try to resurrect that. Now, if you're doing a presentation, like if you're doing a senior design project, you know that's coming up, you may feel like a total dork having a video camera in the back or having somebody video it, but get over it. You need to go ahead, video it, because that's yours to use from now on. I just wish I'd have known that this is the way that things were going, because when I owned my own company, I would kill for samples of the marketing things that we developed and some of the drawings of the product. But when I sold the company, I sold all the rights to that. So I would love to have some of that back. So think ahead, even when you get your first job. What are some things that you would like permission to use in the future? If you create it, chances are you can have rights to that. So you want to ask. Who is your audience? Who are you bringing to the site? Okay, because you are going to drive traffic to it. There's so much data out there. The chances of them finding you are really pretty slim unless you're driving traffic to that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. There's a sheet that was in the back. If you grab it, it says the story of me. This is a worksheet that I use when we're working on pitches, but it's really the same idea. On this column, you're going to be writing down everything you can think of as a skill or an attribute or something that you think you do well. A lot of times the way to think about that is, hey Susan, I wish I blank like you. Things that your friends or family would say. Compliments that you've been given might give you an idea of what are those things that you do really well that stand out to other people. Okay, so think about that sentence, fill in the blank, and put it in this column here. Then you think about who is my audience. They're the filter, okay? So when I was talking about using daisies and pink and green, my audience isn't going to really appreciate that. But if I were working in ad PR and I wanted to work in media, and it kind of fit with that tone of that agency, it might be perfect. Okay, so think about your audience. What would they appreciate? And then of these characteristics, what would they appreciate? I've been in sales for so long that this is what happens naturally in my head all day. Okay, it's like you're being a chameleon. If I'm sitting in somebody's office and I look at their pictures and I can tell they play golf, they have a family, my computer up here is registering all these things and I'm looking for common ground. What can I say that's going to be interesting to them? What do I have in my bag of tricks of who I am and what I represent that I can throw out there that they're going to appreciate, and I can draw them in, find some common ground so that we can move on and get our business done. That's the way a pitch works. That's the way this site works. What have you got? What are they going to appreciate? And what do you want to emphasize? Okay? And you're going to narrow that down, and you're going to pick 5 or so things that you're really going to drive home in this site. Like in my example, I picked management, entrepreneur, communicator. Because I do things that require communication. That's my job. So think about what are you going to narrow it down to? I don't want to say that people aren't smart. That's probably not a nice thing to say. Maybe they just don't want to know that much. You got to make it so easy for them. Because they're going to scan. You don't read things online, right? I mean, does anybody read every single word, screen after screen? No. We just go as fast as we can, get the idea, and move on. Okay, that's just how a resume review is. I mean, it's 10 seconds over, done with, I've made my decision. Well, the site's the same way. So make sure you get that message really clear and concise. About 5 artifacts, those are things that you're going to dig up from your past. So that was like my proposal, my video, and the interview. Okay? So you're going to pick about 5 things that you want to dig up. Make sure it makes sense to your whole story. Then, after you decide what's my message going to be, and what am I going to emphasize, then you're going to look at taking anything that you're going to showcase. If it's a picture or if it's a file, you need to start converting those. Convert them into PDFs, JPEGs. If you have videos, you go ahead and upload them onto your YouTube channel, video, Daily Motion, whichever one you want to use, because whenever you start to, you probably don't want to embed the video, you just want to reference a link to the video that's out of YouTube. So just get all those things prepared, because once you start creating, if you don't have those in the right format, it's really, really frustrating. You just want to quit. I quit the first time. Yes?
Why would you want to embed it instead of?
You can embed it. It will take more space. So, if you're trying to use a free site, right, you might have to pay for more. Also, it's a little slower when it pulls up. So you can think about your audience. Are they willing to wait? Whereas if you reference a link, it's a lot faster. 3 seconds? There you go. Not very long, is it? All right, on pictures, just if you want to pick some stock pictures, you can take your own. I think that's like awesome to take your own, because then it's creative and it's usually very interesting. If you want to use some stock photos, here's some locations that are usually royalty free that you can use. And again, don't think that you have to use yourself in them. Some examples there are, again, these are like if I was a theater arts person, here's some pictures of some productions that I've been in. The picture of the girl on the right, it's really interesting. I think it's a really pretty photo. If you're not a photographer, it would be irrelevant. If that's not you, it's probably irrelevant. So just make sure that things make sense.